Hi, this is Gigi from Kauai Community College. In this video, we will talk about the fundamental theorem of calculus. Yes, it's very, very, very important. So important that it is called the fundamental theorem of calculus, right? So this is something you must know. And the fundamental theorem of calculus said that if you have a function little f that is continuous on the interval a, b, okay, so f is continuous on the interval a, b, and big F is an antiderivative of the function f, then when you are evaluating the integral from a to b, this is a definite integral, the integral from a to b of little f of x dx, it is going to be the antiderivative evaluated at b minus the antiderivative evaluated at a. Okay, antiderivative evaluated at b minus antiderivative evaluated at a, or you can write it as the antiderivative evaluated at from a to b. Okay, so let's see how this works. Suppose you have the function or the integral, a definite integral, from pi over 4 to pi. So how we will read this is the integral from pi over 4 to pi of 2 sine x cosine x. So 2 sine x is going to be your function little f, 2 sine of x, right? So if that is the case, then the antiderivative, as you have seen before, is going to be negative 2 cosine of x plus c. Okay, so what is this theorem saying? It is just f of b minus f of a. So, or we can say that this integral right here, the integral from pi over 4 to pi of 2 sine x dx is going to equal to negative 2 cosine of x plus c evaluated from pi over 4 to pi. Now, you will see in a little bit that this c really doesn't matter. We don't have to write the c right there. And my question to you is, can you think ahead and see why that c doesn't matter? So in this case, pi is the upper limit and pi over 4 is the lower limit, right? So the fundamental theorem of calculus said upper minus lower. So we will have then 2 cosine of pi plus c minus negative 2 cosine of pi over 4 plus c. Okay, do you now see why the c doesn't matter? Because you will have negative distribute into here, you will have c minus c. So that is always going to be the case, so that c right there doesn't really matter, and we don't need to write that in the future. So really, let's go back and say, hey, when we are actually doing the definite integral, the c really doesn't matter. And we can just write that as pi over 4 to pi. Okay, so then we will have upper negative 2 cosine of pi, that's the upper, minus the lower, which is negative 2 cosine of pi over 4. Again, the c is gone. We don't need to write c anymore. Okay, so this would be negative 2 and cosine of pi. So pi is unit circle right here. Pi is right here. Cosine is -1. Okay, minus it's going to be a plus. Cosine of pi over 4. Pi over 4 is right here, and cosine would be root 2 over 2. So root 2 over 2. And so if we want to write it neatly, we would write it as common denominator. 2 times a positive 2 is going to be 4 plus square root of 2. And that is the value of that definite integral. Okay, next, you will see here that we are taking the integral, and this is how we would read that, the integral from negative integral from -1 to 3 of 4x minus x squared dx. And this is to say that x is our variable and we're integrating with respect to x. Okay, so here we will have, then that will equal to, I'm just going to rewrite it so it's nice and neat. This is how we would show our work. The integral from -1 to 3 of 4x minus x squared dx is going to equal to the antiderivative of 4x is going to be 2x squared, because if we had gone backward, bring this down, multiply, that would be 2x. 2 times 2 is 4, right? So that would be 4x. And then the antiderivative of x squared is x to the third divided by 3. All the antiderivative evaluated from -1 to 3. That is how we would write that. And again, we don't need to write the c, because the fundamental theorem of calculus will say that we're going to plug in the 3. So then we'll have a c right here minus the other c over there. So the c is gone. We don't need to write plus c. Okay? So that will be then the integral here would be the first upper limit, which would be 2 times 3 squared minus 3 to the third over 3 minus the lower limit, that would be 2 times -1 squared minus -1 to the third over 3. And from there, you just do the calculations, right? So 3 squared is 9. 9 times 2 is 18. Minus 3 squared is 27. Minus divided by 3 is 9. So the upper part is 18 minus 9, which is 9. Minus the lower part would be 1 squared is positive 1 times 2 is 2. Minus -1 to the third power is -1, and a minus in the front, that makes it a plus 1/3. So this would be 9 minus 2 in the third, and 9 minus 2 in the third, 9 minus 2 is 7. So you will have 7 minus a third is 6 2/3. And that is the value of this integral right here.